Hey everybody, welcome back to Bethenaeum. Today I have 5 tips to help you find inspiration for your writing. Okay, so we are halfway through NaNoWriMo. Congratulations on getting this far. Hopefully you're keeping up with word counts. And if you find yourself trailing behind, I'd like to encourage you to keep going. You can do it. And even if you don't hit that 50,000 word count, that's okay. Keep writing, keep creating, keep pushing through, and you'll come up with something that is unique to you and is something that only you could have created. So let's get into my 5 tips for finding inspiration when you need it. All right, so tip number 1 is a tip that I do for most of my writing works, and that is to create a playlist. Try to find songs that fit with your story and with what you are trying to create, and put them all together so that when you are writing, you can listen to them, or when you're driving in the car and you're thinking about your work, you can listen to them, and it gives you just that little extra boost that you need to be inspired to work on your current work. And if you're trying to find stuff for a new work, make sure you branch out and try to listen to new music, because you'd be surprised at how often some of those suggested playlists on things like Pandora and Spotify will help you find music that fits with what you are currently trying to kind of put together in your head. And if you are having trouble finding stuff, I would like to suggest that maybe you listen to some soundtracks for some movies that you really like, or some movies that maybe fit genre-wise with what it is you're writing. Give those a listen rather than just regular pop rock or whatever genre music you like. Soundtracks can really invoke emotion and a lot of other things that are part of the creative process. That's really what they're meant to do when they're placed in movies. And so give those a listen and try to incorporate them into a playlist that is featured just for your work and what you are trying to create. Tip number 2 is to read a book. One of my friends sent me a quote this past week that I really loved, and I felt like really summed up at least my belief in writing and reading. And it is that reading and writing are 2 sides of the same coin. Reading is breathing in and writing is breathing out. And that just sums up very much how I feel about the relationship between reading and writing. If you are writing, you should be reading. You should be reading in the genre that you are writing in. You should be reading books to help your style and your form. And you should be just exploring and constantly bringing in new material for your brain and your mind and your creativity to work with. So if you find that you are having trouble being inspired in your writing and coming up with stuff, try reading a book. Try rereading a book that you love. Try rereading a book that you maybe didn't like so much, and it will open your eyes to maybe some new stuff that either you don't like or that you like now that you're older and wiser, of course. And try reading something new. You might find that reading something new will bring inspiration that you didn't expect to find. Tip number 3 is to go for a walk, or just get out of your writing space. If your writing space is already kind of in an outdoor area, try doing something indoors. Try finding something that is the opposite of whatever your writing space is. Try to change your physical space in the hopes that it will change your brain space, if that makes sense. So if normally you stay at home and indoors to write, go to a park and go for a walk. If normally you go out, like you go to meetups to write, try staying home and watching a movie. Just change. I personally suggest going for walks because I don't go for walks as often as I should. And so I often find myself gathering inspiration when I go for walks, whether it's the people I see, the houses I pass, or the just nature rejuvenating me and helping me to kind of come up with new stuff. Going for a walk is a great way for me to recenter my creative process and to help me find inspiration again in what I'm working on. Tip number 4 is to play the what if game with your characters, or prompts, finding writing prompts. If you find yourself working on a specific work that you need to work on and get done, but you just are stuck and you're not getting that inspiration to keep moving forward, whether it's with your plot or your scenes, try the what if game, which is basically where you take whatever it is you're stuck with and you just ask yourself, what if? And you do that over and over and over and over, and you try to choose paths that your character wouldn't normally choose. Try to take your novel in a direction that you don't have it planned to go in, or in a direction that would be really odd for the characters to go in. try just writing that, and you might find that you'll find something to use for inspiration, or that it just kind of gets your writing flow going, and that helps get you over whatever hump you're finding. So that's the what if game. And then you also have prompts. Many of you, I'm sure, who have written for any length of time know that you can find thousands and thousands and thousands of prompts, writing prompts online. And so oftentimes what I do, if I'm having trouble with my characters, I don't feel like they're fleshed out properly, or if I'm having issues with my plot and I just don't really know where to go, I will go out and find a random prompt and either try to work it into my plot as a way to make my plot more flexible, or as a way to flush out holes in my plot or parts of my plot that I haven't thought about. Or I put my characters into these scenes or plots that are different than what they're normally in, and it helps me to explore them as characters and to flesh them out a little bit better and get a better feel for them. So the what if game and writing prompts are excellent ways to kind of try to peak just your writing and get you forward momentum again. Tip number 5, and my final tip for the day, is to talk to a friend. Now this friend could be a writer friend, this friend could be a non-writer friend or non-reader friend. It doesn't really matter. Really, the idea is to just give you a sounding board of someone who will listen and maybe give you some feedback, but that will help you to work through your process with somebody else. You might find that in trying to explain what you're working on or talking about what you're working on with another person helps you to get out of your own headspace and find some of that flow and some of that inspiration that you were needing. And I even had to do this about a week ago. I had to go over to a friend's house and have her help me work through some of my plotting issues, because I was stuck. And I found that after talking with her, not only about my work, but listening to her talk about hers and work through some of her stuff, I was inspired. And I was like, you know what? I can do this. I need to go home and I need to work on my personal project. And I did. And so you'll find that friends and people who pour into you and people that you pour into are an invaluable resource in your writing and finding inspiration. All right, and that's all I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this video and found some tips that could help you find some inspiration and finish through your NaNoWriMo or whatever project you are currently working on. And I would like to take this moment to ask you to subscribe if you are not already, and to ring that little bell so that you get notifications whenever I post new videos, which on a regular week is every Tuesday and Friday. And I look forward to seeing what you create. And again, if you are working on NaNoWriMo, keep pushing. You can do it. And I appreciate every single one of you and your time. Thank you. Bye.